The Hog Sty is brought to you by TicketClub.com, your one-stop shop for live events nationwide. Whether you're looking for game, theater, or live performance tickets, don't sweat it. TicketClub.com has you covered. So make sure you're going there for all your live entertainment needs, and make sure you're clicking over to them from the banner at the top of thehogsty.com. Hello and welcome to the Hog Sty, the only legitimate source for Redskins information and informed speculation, so I don't even know why you bother with those other shows. We're brought to you by our friends at TicketClub.com. My name's Sean Conti, and I got my dudes, Steve Thomas and Alex Zeese, with me in the morning, as always. How you fellas doing today on this Saturday?
Oh,
doing good.
It's a beautiful day in the morning.
Yeah. Steve and I already have recorded one show together, so we're just doing like a full half day together now on podcasting.
I feel like we're doing like a real show, podcasting for hours on end here.
Right. Only we don't get commercial breaks. So
no, we don't. It's just talking.
Yeah.
2 hours.
I'll give you guys a little funny thing, or not funny, but little thing to wager on. I got bored at work, and I saw that 106.7 is looking for producers, and I threw my resume on them. Do you think I'll even get a call back?
Oh, this is good. Oh, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, I'd call you back.
Yeah,
well, I'd call you back too, but I think I'm going to say they do not call you back because you don't have what they would deem to be legitimate producer experience. They would look
probably.
Come on.
They would
He's
look at
got
our
so much
little.
background.
They would look at our little show and go no, and they would see you as an audio video guy fundamentally, not a radio guy. So I'm going to say
which is fair because I am an audio video guy.
Right,
but
right.
I just threw it out there because why not?
I do think you could
But
do
Steve,
the job. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's producing is very easy.
It's like what we're doing here at a slightly higher level, but not much higher.
Right.
Maybe they'd look at him and be like, well, we could pay this guy $25,000 less than the other candidates. We'll take him.
I'm not taking $25,000 less than what I'm making.
Well, no. I don't know what the salary is.
Yeah,
that
would always be the killing point for me. I think radio producers don't get paid that much.
See, they don't even need the junkies.
No.
We could do the same job as the junkies do for a much lower price.
Yes, and they'd pay one less person. Or no, not really. We got 4 people. So
yeah, we have 4. So we could do just as good a job for them. Right. It's like a value. Remember you were talking about the value thing in the other show? We would provide much better value. Mm-hmm. But see, I don't know if
sabermetrics-wise, yes.
I don't know if I would be willing to take a huge pay cut, though. That's the problem.
No. I think, for them paying you what you're making would probably – yeah.
Do it for the love, Steve.
Well, see, what are they going to pay? This is the question.
Well, I bet the junkies get paid well. I'm
not talking about the junkies. I'm talking about them hiring us. What would they pay us?
See, I've heard guys say, like, entry level, you're making barely like $30,000, $40,000 a year or something.
I'm sorry, that's a yearly salary?
Yeah, for like entry-level radio guys, they don't get paid what they used to.
I would like my same salary, please.
Yeah, that's not even, I can't even remember when I was making that little amount of money. It's been a long time.
Well, I wish you luck on the job search, Fran. That would be awesome, dude, and I think you are qualified for it. So, hey.
I'm going to say they don't even call me back. I'll get a Dear John in a week.
You're not going to get anything. I bet you they don't respond at all.
Oh, no, they'll send that boilerplate, thank you for applying thing.
I'm thinking you're not even going to merit that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
Am I hating? What do you say? I'm hating on him, Sean? What did you just say?
I mean, obviously. You just said he wasn't worth the callbacks.
I said he could do the job. I'm saying they won't think he can do the job. That's my point.
No, I know. I'm kidding.
We love Alex.
Got much love for you, Alex. And you guys, my God, you guys have been podcasting all day today already. This is their second show today here, folks. So they're on double duty. So, Alex, you deserve the job just for commitment.
For doing podcasts for fun, yes.
Especially since Alex did that as, because we had some people out for the other show. So he's just helping us out.
Maybe I should see if Rick and Matt, I don't know when they record, but maybe I should see if they need another call in, right?
They record on the day we're recording, so we can maybe call in there too.
Yeah.
Do 3 hours.
Right.
All right, well, let's let's jump on into it then, folks. This is how we're doing. We want to know how y'all at home are doing. And, Steve, I believe we had a poll to engage with our beautiful listeners this week, so maybe we should jump on in there.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not sure how beautiful these folks are. Some of them are pretty darn ugly, quite honestly. But,
don't say that.
Yeah. I'm being real. I'm always real on this show, and some of them are just not attractive. I'm sorry. Okay, so here's a poll question this week. As we head into the draft week, what grade do you give the Redskins for their offseason so far? The options are outstanding, great job, good so far, but not great, about average for the Skins, and then failing, bad offseason. Mm-hmm. So those are the options. And by the way, yes, I just insulted our audience, but I hope they're not hanging up. Continue to listen because this is just me babbling.
They understand.
So let's start with Alex this week. Alex, what do you think the public would have voted for, and what is your opinion?
I don't think anyone would have gone outstanding. I think the second option, which was what, okay, not great.
It was good, not great.
Good, not great. Yeah, I couldn't remember how you. Good, not great. And I would probably be. I don't even think it was good, not great. To be honest, I mean the Landon Collins thing is nice. The Matt Ioannidis re-signing that we're going to get to, that's nice. They're making good moves, but we still just have so many holes that need to be filled up, and we're never going to get it all in free agency, but I feel like they've done a below-average job in a lot of it.
Yeah, this is one of these Twitter limitations things, because I was originally going to do A, B, C, D, F,
right?
But you can't do 5. So
right.
One way or another, there's going to be like a below average was always going to be missing. So you're going to vote for about average then?
About average, yeah.
All right. Okay.
They're treading water.
Okay, Sean, your opinion?
Yeah, I'm going to back him up on that. I think about average for the Skins. They had a couple of nice things, probably Landon Collins being the biggest thing that's like a positive note for the fans that everyone's behind. Other than that, not much shape taking form with the team, it seems like, at least right now. So I'm going to say about average for the team.
Okay.
And wait, do we predict what we think people say?
Yeah,
too?
Go ahead. Yeah, try that. Yeah. Well, Alex did.
Yeah,
Alex, you said they were going to vote for good, not great, right?
Yeah, I thought good, not great.
Yeah. So, Sean, you need to give your prediction about what the fans said.
I think that the jaded levels are real, and I think people are going to side with me this week for the first time ever and say average for the team.
Well, you know what, Sean? You're wrong.
Did I finally do it?
No, you're wrong.
Damn it, Steve. Damn it, Steve.
Okay, so by a vote of 52%, the public voted for good so far, not great.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and so then second place was about average, which was 29%. 12% of the people out there voted for outstanding, great job. Those are the optimistic 12%. And then 7% said failing. I don't quite know how you get to failing. I don't know how you can be that much of a pessimist given that they have signed an all-pro level player. I don't quite get that. If I had voted, I didn't vote in this poll, but if I can't vote on the poll. If I had voted, I would have put in the good so far, not great. Because I do think, they made more. The past several off seasons have been dramatically underwhelming in my view. Mm-hmm. So I'm having a hard time saying about average for the Skins because the average is so low. So the idea that they got a loan, that they got Ioannidis and Landon Collins both in the door long term, to me that makes it a good offseason all by itself. And they didn't lose anybody that I really care about. I mean, yeah, they lost Jameson Crowder, but I mean, okay. So to me, it's a good, not great.
And the one thing I think we all have kind of overlooked and maybe are underselling is the Keenum trade was a good move overall.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was in terms of what risk. You gave up and what you're getting back. That's fine for a 1-year rental quarterback.
Yeah, no, you're right. None of us mentioned it. We should have. You're right. It's a low risk thing. So we got a bunch of comments as always. Mark, I'm going to start with Mark Tyler from Hogs Haven, our buddy. He chimed in here, and he gave a long rationale for his. So I'm going to read his first.
Did he go 2 tweets?
No, it wasn't 2 tweets, but this is probably the most comprehensive comment we got this week, so we'll start with him. He said it was better than I expected. Here's why I feel that way. Number 1, Landon Collins signing was a home run. Number 2, I personally like the move to acquire Flowers. Many people will disagree. Number 3, re-signing Matt Ioannidis was brilliant. He likes that we re-signed Adrian Peterson, but no BS extension, which means Brandon Scherf, and then they let James Crowder walk. So that's his rationale there. We got a bunch of Dave. Dave has commented on a lot of these things.
Dave, the USMC guy.
Yeah, him. WSK28 rules. He said outstanding because of the Collins signing and his contract structure plus the recent Ioannidis signing are huge. Not overpaying Crowder Smith was responsible and a smart move. Finally, the Keenum trade, not because of the player, but the salary side for a viable starting quarterback. So that was his opinion. Oh, see, did we get a woman? Yeah. We got a woman in here, so we always have to read women who comment because we need more women listeners. So this is is Julie, who is at Resist 1972. I'm thinking probably she and I politically are probably opposite, and that's fine. But Redskins wise, she said best offseason in years, considering having to work around the Alex Smith contract. So that's her opinion.
That's a fair point.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
Thanks, Julie.
Women always bring a rational point to a conversation like this.
Yeah, exactly. Some guy named Jay Evans.
Oh, okay. Yeah, know him.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Jay wrote in and commented and said, good so far. They have a $22 million salary cap penalty with Smith's injury and still added a premier safety. Ioannidis is icing. Re-signing Scherf and hitting the first 3 rounds is paramount to be great. So that was Jay's opinion. Maybe, Jay, if you're listening, perhaps you should write about it.
Subtle hint there from Steve.
Just a hint. Okay, let's go with Coach Papo. I think this is somebody new.
Okay, that doesn't sound familiar.
No, at Coach Papo. He said Collins signing was great, albeit pricey. Flowers is a nice low-risk signing. Ioannidis re-signing was great. Need to re-sign Scherf. Still need depth at multiple positions. Players to compete at starting positions, grade of B. So that is that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And he used Eric Flowers as one of the reasons to give him a B. Man, a lot of positivity about the Flowers signing, which we glossed over because so many other things happened. But,
I don't quite understand why anybody thinks that's a good sign.
The money makes no sense. I understand maybe, hey, he's a backup, but
sure, bring him in. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Why are you paying him guaranteed money? Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's Toon Squad 1. He says, good so far. Defense is great with Collins, and Reuben Foster will be better with speed rusher like Burns. And the offense, we address it in the draft by grabbing a guard, maybe first and receiver, second day. That's his opinion.
Cool.
Austin Skins, my favorite person, wrote in and said, this is a bad poll. Well, you know what? Screw you, Austin. Screw you, Austin. You dream out.
You doing it because he wants to piss you off.
Why don't you dream out? You start a website and you dream up polls every week and see how well you do on it, okay?
You're giving him what he wants. I love you, Austin. Love you, buddy.
I don't love
giving
him.
him what he wants right
Screw
now.
him. Okay, I'm just insulting audience left and right here today.
Yeah,
this is what happens when you get me to talk for 2 hours without a break.
Yeah.
Jimmy Staples wrote in and said, still waiting. And I write that because I don't have a clue what he means by that. So,
well, I think he means without the draft, maybe. You can't
Yeah. But that wasn't the question.
That's the
Jamie.
point.
The point was to do it before the draft. So I don't know what you're
and because after the draft, we'll ask people what they think, and then it'll be very different, hopefully.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
And so, last one, we could do this forever. The last comment I'll read here is best tater available. And I just like the name. That's honestly, his comment isn't that insightful.
You like potatoes.
His comment isn't insightful. I like the name. He wrote C and D in. And so I'm assuming he's grading this offseason somewhere between a C and a D, I guess. So not a very good comment. Best tater.
A D plus C minus.
Yeah, try harder next time on the comment, but I do like your name.
All right.
So.
Yeah. Can we do an episode where we just read mean comments?
All right, I'll just insult our listeners for an hour.
How many times have I written out and said, hey, send us some questions? You know, like I want to do. I love the idea of doing a mean listener Q&A, AMA kind of thing. But
you mean where they write in and we make fun of them? That's
no,
not
they try and insult us. We insult them back. That'd be great.
That'd be perfect. If you think out there, okay, how about this? If you think we're just dumb and awful at this, write in. It's ths@thehogsty.com. Tell us why you think we're awful.
Right.
But just be aware that we are going to respond.
Austin, go ahead and write why we're awful.
Yeah.
And we might tell you why you're just as awful. So.
Right. Well, that's just going to be you and him arguing about Beto O'Rourke because that's all that ever happened between the two of you.
Listen,
remind me to be sick that day.
Yeah.
Whatever day that is, Sean is ill.
Yes.
I'm very ill.
So that's the poll this week.
Beautiful. All right, love it. Thank you to everybody who participated.
Except Austin. I don't thank you for that.
I love it. Austin, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing God's work, buddy. All right, let's talk about some news. So everybody brought up Ioannidis, so that's the perfect segue into talking about probably our most exciting thing to happen for a while here this offseason, setting aside Landon Collins. Matt, Ioannidis got re-signed to a 3-year extension, 3 years, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay, so his contract is a 3-year, $21.75 million extension. So he signed for the next 4 years, becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2023. We don't have the breakdown yet, really, of how this goes. Mm-hmm. So nobody knows, but he got $14 million guaranteed. Average annual salary of $7.25 million. If I had to guess, this is probably what it is. He's going to have a signing bonus of, $4 or $5 million, maybe.
Right, of that 14, yeah.
And then he'll have the first year salary guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Maybe the first 2 years, probably not. It's probably the first year, so that's probably what it is. I think it's a great signing myself. Mm-hmm. And you're keeping the core group of defensive linemen, intact for years to come, and I love it.
What did I harp on for a good long time the last couple of shows? It's this team needs to do a better job of when they draft somebody with some talent, keep them.
Well, and
this is exactly
that. Actually, that Bruce Allen listened to our show and signed Matt Ioannidis because of what you said over the past month.
Because I had a 5-minute rant about the fact that they don't keep good guys around long enough.
Well, I'll just say we heard this off record, that Bruce Allen was sitting in his office sipping Budweiser, listening to this show, and said,
Coors.
"You know what?
He drinks Coors, not Budweiser."
Oh, sorry, Coors. I don't know the difference. I don't drink. It'd be me sipping a Sunkist.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, seriously.
For you, it's like the difference between Sunkist and Orangina is what it is.
Oh, see, I mean, come on. You don't drink Orangina or Fanta? No,
Fanta?
I mean,
or La Croix?
I don't respect Fanta drinkers, honestly.
Alex, can you imagine Steve drinking LaCroix?
I can imagine.
Well, I don't even know what that is.
It's like it's a hipster drink, dude. It's like a lightly carbonated,
it's basically seltzer water with a hint of whatever.
The fact that you said hipster drink means I will never drink it.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, but ladies, so Matt Ioannidis.
No, but that's awesome.
Here's the point: Matt Ioannidis. I thought they really needed to do this. I think Alex is exactly right. I mean, we disagreed a little bit on the personnel when we talked about this last week, but the Redskins definitely need to do better keeping talent in house. Matt Ioannidis has gone from a guy who was a practice squatter who got cut and put on the practice squad to getting the big contract extension. He's been, you could argue in some ways that he's been the top performer, most consistent performer on the defensive line.
Yeah.
John Allen was out, has been out with injuries. Deron Payne is, a rookie.
Ioannidis has had his injuries too, though. If we're going to be fair, yeah.
He has, but I mean, he had 7 sacks last year?
7.5 sacks last year. Allen, I think, had 8.5.
That's crazy for a defensive lineman. We've got defensive linemen at that.
And Payne, I think, had 5. Those are good numbers from a 3-4D line.
And these guys are only going to get better. It is the core of what I think, in an ideal world without injuries, what we have is a core of one of the top defensive lines in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'll make that bold prediction.
When did he go down last year? What week was that?
I don't think he ever went down, but he got hurt around week 11 or something like that.
11, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He started slowing down around then.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about his injury history. I know he's had a couple dings and dents.
It was the year before that he was out for half the season.
That I remember, yeah. I thought he went out last year for a couple games.
He might have been out a couple games, but I don't know how many.
Okay, so here it is. Okay, so Ioannidis played 10 games in 2016, 14 games in 2017, and 14 in 2018.
Okay.
And part of that 2016, I think he was on the practice squad.
Yeah. And he gets hurt, but he plays through it, and that's kind of what you want out of a defensive lineman. Yeah. You're not going to play a D line and not get hurt.
And in terms of his career stats, since we're talking about Ioannidis, on a career, he has 65 total tackles, 12 sacks, and 42 solo tackles. So the sack breakdown, 7.5 last year, 4.5 in 2017. So he's made progress. So now that he's signed to the big deal, let's hope that he continues to make progress. I think if you get 15 sacks, plus, you said Payne had 5, right? And so
I believe Payne had 5.
20 sacks out of your defensive front. That's
incredible. Especially in again, we don't run like a 4-3 front where these guys are meant to be getting sacks.
Right.
The whole idea of our defense is that linebackers get the sacks.
Yeah.
So you're adding them to Kerrigan and then whatever else the other outside linebacker gets?
Yeah.
That's huge.
So, I mean, congratulations, Bruce Allen, on a job well done. Credit where credit is due on this one, for sure.
Yeah, the team did a great job getting this signing. You got to just be happy that it means we basically are going to have the same, 3 top guys now for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
At least.
Because Allen's got 3 years left on his deal.
Right.
Payne has 4. Yeah, and I'm not. You know what, Alex? I'm not even going to make fun of you for your man crush on Ioannidis this week.
You're not going to do that right now, like you just did.
I'm not even going to make fun of the fact that you're in love with this man. I'm just not going to say it.
Right.
Listen, love knows no bounds, Steve. So I have a question for you guys about this. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about the draft in a second. We have one other little piece of news to talk about first. But just because we're on the topic, I was reading an article about how the Redskins really searching for an identity. I think this was over at ESPN. Mm-hmm. They've made this Matt Ioannidis extension. Some people seem to be speculating, or it's just an idea that's getting thrown out there, that the team will continue to bolster the defense through the draft, especially in the early rounds, rather than offense. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but in the attempt to sort of build an identity for this team, can you see that happening? Bolstering the defense further and really becoming a defensive powerhouse?
I could absolutely see it happening, yeah.
Even in the first 2 picks of the draft?
I think it depends on how their board shakes out, okay? Because here's what I think. I think no NFL team goes into the draft strictly on a best player available basis. I don't care what a GM says. Every team, they create a draft board and they factor team need, they factor player value into it, right?
Right.
And then so it's all in there. But I think a lot of teams, from what I can tell, a lot of teams follow their board pretty strictly. And so if you rank these players and say a defender comes up on top, factoring in the fact that maybe the need is less, but he's a better player, so it shakes out. And so I think the Redskins seem to be a team that does that. They seem to be a team that follows their board. Maybe they didn't with the Brandon Scherf pick, because that was such a need back then. But they drafted Doxson because it was high up on Scott McGloin's board, even though at the time we really didn't need it, So I think I could see that happening sort of unintentionally. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that from a perspective of unintentionally, like they're just rolling into it with no plan. I just think if the board shakes out like that, we could see it happening. Because I don't think they're a team that's going to focus on offense to the exclusion of their board.
I'll add one little caveat to that, because I agree with you. But at the same time, you never know what's going to happen in the first round. Where your board is in the first round is probably going to be the more important pick to focus on. But this draft, we've heard from a bunch of people, there are probably 10 good pass rushers in this draft.
Yeah.
There are probably, who was it that we had on that said you could probably get a starting guard in the 5th round even?
I think that was Joe Marino that might have said
okay. that. Yeah, I think so. So they could, I think just by default with how deep this draft is at edge rusher and at some other positions, they will get a very good starting edge rusher probably in the 3rd round if they don't get one earlier. I think it just works out that way.
There's no need to rush it.
There's no need to rush it, but I think it'll happen because I think you'll be able to find guys.
Yeah. Awesome.
You might be right. I just think that they're going to follow their board.
I think they will too, but at the same time, I think when you get past the 3rd round, that's when teams do vary from their board a little more.
Yeah, I would place a premium. If I was ranking these players and I was a GM of the Redskins, the need value, I think I would put a premium on guard, receiver, quarterback.
Over edge rusher? Because edge rusher is really the one spot on defense that we have a need.
They need a starter, but we do have Ryan Kerrigan on one side, and we have a defensive line.
Right.
That's, as we just talked about, very stout. And so if you could say the need is less, they need to find a starter, but they don't need to find Julius Peppers necessarily.
No. If they do, great.
Obviously, great if they do. If like Montez Sweat falls to him, for example, that would be great. Or like Josh Allen. But so if I would rank the need, I would rank those positions higher.
Yes.
Than edge rusher.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Steve.
Not to say they won't do it, but yeah.
Well, We have plenty of draft stuff to talk about. Let's talk about Landon Collins and Jalen Ramsey real quick first, and then we'll come back to draft stuff. And we have to talk about the schedule, of course, because that's also the huge thing. But Landon Collins, Jalen Ramsey. So Jalen Ramsey, cornerback at the Jaguars, not happy with his team, or so the story goes. Landon Collins putting some recruiting efforts in, hoping to get him over here to the Redskins. How does this story strike you, fellas?
I mean, I like it. I like the idea that Collins is, advocating for the Redskins already. This is just talk, though, people.
Yeah,
can I
guys
make fun
goofing
of
off on social media. That's what
can
it
I make
is.
fun of another Hog Sty follower?
Yes.
Is
Please
free allowed
do.
one day? Okay. Sorry, my throat was getting really scratchy since I've been babbling for 2 hours now. So we had a guy. I retweeted that thing out from the Hog Sty and just said, "Hey, check this out," without comment.
Yeah.
And somebody jumps in and says, "Is this, does Landon Collins know that Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie is going to play corner and that's why, or safety already, and that's why he's trying to get Jalen Ramsey in here?" Listen, that's just Landon Collins doesn't know anything. Okay,
No.
This is just Landon Collins babbling on Twitter. That period. Landon Collins has no idea what DRC is doing. They haven't practiced at all. They haven't. The workout started last week. They're not asking Landon Collins' opinion on who should start.
No.
He knows absolutely nothing about anything. This is just Landon Collins babbling on Twitter because he's bored while he's out there watching Games of Our Lives or something.
And it's a friend of his, and he's like, "Hey,
Yeah, right.
come on over."
They probably know each other, and he's
Yeah.
just talking. That's it. This is not anything serious. No, he doesn't have inside information about what Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie's going to play. That's stupid. That's just not what this is. I like the idea he's advocating for his team. It means he's happy, if nothing else.
Yeah.
It means he's outwardly happy to be a Redskin. Right. Which, how often do we see that from people on this team? Do we ever see that from people?
Kirk Cousins wasn't recruiting.
No,
he sure wasn't.
no.
If anything, he was doing the opposite. I don't know. It's pretty nice. I don't know why more players don't get on social media to do positive things like this that are sort of fan service and good PR for the team. It's only a good thing.
I will
wish
say
more
it
players-
feels like a lot of these Alabama guys do that, especially with going after other Alabama guys. We all heard Ryan Anderson was kind of big in trying to push Landon Collins to come here, and we know Josh Allen pushed for the team to draft Payne. There is that, and that's why we have about 8 of them now, or half of a roster. I don't know.
I think they're going for an all-Alabama defense. That's what I think.
Yeah. Just don't get the
draft best
offense.
player
None of their
available?
offensive guys are any good in the
See,
NFL.
they could realistically end up with Deontay Thompson,
Right.
at safety this year. So you could add another one in there.
Yeah.
Also they just, they need to, if they, and they've got Reuben Foster coming in.
Yeah.
So really and truly, we're down to like edge rushers. Matt Ioannidis is going to be the sore thumb for the next 4 years. You can't get rid of him.
Right.
But look, I mean, I love it. I think, Sean, you said it best. It's him. He's out there. He likes being here. He's advocating for his team. But if any of you out there think this means a thing, it doesn't. Okay, it means absolutely nothing. And to that fool who's arguing with me over that on Twitter, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, it means nothing. It's just an interesting tweet. That's it. Period.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like a really easy thing to do. I wish more players did it. This team needs some good PR. It's just a shame it takes some young player like Landon Collins to come forward and actually do that for this team.
You know who does it pretty well? I know you don't follow Twitter closely, Sean, but Darius Slay does this kind of stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like
He engages with fans a lot. Do you know that?
Well, I saw the one I saw from him this morning. I don't know when he sent it out, but I saw it this morning. Was he had a close up of his face smiling, and he just said, "Put your smiles in the responses." And so he got a whole bunch of like people smiling in Redskins gear. He had dogs smiling, and I mean, that's the kind of thing that's just a nice, fun fan service thing to do. That's great. Instead of people like Antonio Brown whining about his contract and Le'Veon Bell, on Twitter making nuisance of himself, you have Geis and Collins who are just doing fun, good things. We need more of that because Twitter I've realized is like Satan's playground.
It really is.
It's a negativity breeding ground. That's true. That really is true.
I really hope Geis winds up being like a 1,500-yard running back for us.
It'd be a real shame if he ends up running for 300 yards.
Yeah, he seems like such a good dude.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. I think he's going to be good, though. I loved him, as you guys know, in college. Yeah. And if I recall, Ernest Biner on this show had great things to say about him, too.
He did. And I was hesitant on that pick because I like some of the other guys that were coming out more, just, because. But the personality wins me over 100%. I'll say that.
You have to root for him. But from a play perspective, I mean, my fear with him is, now that he has his ACL, he needs his agility, and that's the last thing to come back. And he's put out these little workout videos and stuff, and what we haven't really seen him do is cut.
Yeah.
And it's a bit early for that. It's still, April, so we'll see. But, I mean, like, ACL robbed Kajana Carter of a career. And yes, that was a long time ago. But, I mean, the streets of the NFL are littered with running backs whose career was destroyed by an ACL injury. That having been said, the man who is his co-runner, tore his ACL and was back inside of a year, but he's the exception to the rule. So that's my fear with guys. He's easy to root for, but, I just hope that we don't know if he can play in the first place. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's right. Awesome. All right. Well, I don't know if there's much more to say about Geist than that. Still in a holding pattern.
We started out on Landon Collins, ended up on Geist.
And Geist, yeah. Well, let's go into our drafts because we can have a nice long draft conversation. We put out our own 3-round mock drafts. I think I forgot to put a pick on there.
Yeah, you left out the fourth, the second, third rounder. Yeah.
Yeah. Oops. Okay. Well, maybe I'll do that today.
I'm not updating. You can do it. I'm not updating. I'm done with it. That's in my past.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, let's talk about it. Maybe we should just talk about our picks first. We can have a nice kind of open draft conversation after that for a couple minutes. Let's see. Let me pull up our article here. Who wants to go first?
I wrote down who I picked, but
well, Alex, you go ahead because I did this in alphabetical order by first name on the site. So you being Alex.
Do we want to just go round by round?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So my first round pick, you guys know I'm basically down to 3 guys who I really want to see us draft, and that's either Haskins, White, or Montez Sweat. And Montez Sweat was the only of those 3 left when I picked. By the way, we did this, each of us, by actually doing a mock draft. We didn't just say, here's my number 1 choice.
Right.
Just to make that clear to our fans.
Yeah.
We went through the simulation.
Yeah, we did a sim, and that keeps you kind of honest as to, all right, here's who's available, here's who I picked. So my first pick was Montez Sweat.
Awesome.
Yeah, Sean, go ahead. You're next on the alphabetical list. So.
Yeah, I kind of had a lot of the same priorities that you guys did. In my simulation, the top quarterbacks flew off the board pretty quick, including some strange picks that I'm not sure I agree with, but that's what happened. The top guards I think were gone too. Wasn't really high on picking that first anyway, so I went with kind of a BPA approach, but it was definitely at a position of need, and that's DK Metcalf at wide receiver. He seemed far and away like the top talent that was still available at that point, and my goodness, would he help because we've got nobody that's not a Jag to catch balls this year. So I went with Metcalf.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good pick.
It's a little bit high risk, but the payoff could be huge.
I think people are underestimating this guy, personally. I mean, it's not like he can't change directions.
No.
He's not just stuck in a box where he can only run forward, But, okay, so I drafted Kody Ford, the tackle / probable guard out of Oklahoma. I don't even think the Redskins should draft a guard in round 1 because we've had enough experts on this show and elsewhere say that's a very deep draft in guards. My problem was, like you guys, my priority, quarterback number 1. In the draft I did, Murray, Haskins, Locke were all gone. I wouldn't draft Locke at 15 anyway. Hawkinson, the tight end, was gone. Montez Sweat, DK Metcalf, Brian Burns, all these guys were all my top on my board in my head. Kody Ford was the next guy up. And so I followed my board in my head. And this was Kody Ford. So, I mean, I think that Ford, yes, we could get a starting guard lower in the draft, but since we have him, I think he's going to be an outstanding guard. And he can play tackle. So if, what's the guy's name? Morgan Moses goes down with his annual injury, or Trent Williams goes down with his annual injury, you've got a built-in swing tackle now that Ty Seki's gone. So I think that was my first round pick. Wasn't wild about it, but now that if he's on the Redskins, they can definitely make use of him.
I mean, it just means, okay, we're running the ball a lot, and, That's a good blocker. You know, I don't think anyone would complain about Ford. It's just not
Ford,
sexy.
It's not Ford the player. It's just that I would have preferred to fill a different kind of need.
I get
but
you.
Since they were all gone, he was next up for me.
I think for a lot of people, they don't love seeing those drafted linemen early because it's not exciting.
Well, Jay Gruden doesn't like it. Gruden said that in press.
Yes, he hates drafting guards in the first round.
He was like dripping with, anger. You know, when a year ago, I think it was 2 years ago, in training camp, somebody asked him about drafts, and he went, we need to get production out of our first round picks. And listen, we drafted a guard.
Yeah.
Meaning
he said we drafted a wide receiver who's been hurt and a guard. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, you could hear the disgust dripping out of his voice for guard, Yeah. Even though he loves Scherf.
Yeah. I'm sure he likes having him there. I think he wishes he was drafted in the 5th round.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Okay, so round 2.
Wait, should we read these other guys real quick?
Okay,
we can say Jamal picked Hawkinson,
Yeah.
the tight end, which is a great call. He said on the show that he was interested in picking up a top tight end, and that's a good pick too.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I got him here. Eric, our new writer, drafted Montez Sweat like Alex. We already talked about that. Jay Evans, Mr. J, he's taking a chance on this. Drafts Hollywood Brown. Now,
all right.
Jay, and he qualified this by saying, assuming the medical reports are clear, because Brown has the Liz Frank injury.
Right.
And is not going to be a future concern. So that's his qualification. So he's making the assumption that Brown passes the Redskins medical. To me, it's too much of a risk, but that's Jay's opinion.
Sure.
And, okay, that's it. So, Chris,
so that's those guys.
The other guys chose not to participate in our little event.
That's fine.
Team players, so.
Yeah.
Boo. You're fired. No, just kidding.
You don't. They're not on our show. You can't fire them.
No,
we can't fire them.
They're a part of the Hog Sty,
Yeah,
family.
that's true.
And, Okay, Alex, round 2.
All right, round 2, I went with the guard Chris Lindstrom, who is from Boston College, and he's kind of my favorite guard in this draft. So
definitely one of the top ranked, or if not the.
By the way, I was very tempted. I think the wide receiver from Georgia was right there too, as well as Paris Campbell. But I was like, I feel like guard just better fit right there.
Fair enough. Sean?
Okay, so that's a great pick, Alex, and I thought about doing that. Lindstrom was still available for me as well. I actually went right below him to another guard, which would have been Michael Dieter. The reason being, first of all, doesn't Lindstrom tend to play on the right?
I think he does,
as a guard? So I went with a guy that was more naturally to the left in Dieter, and also he has experience at center. We know the Redskins love guys that can be kind of plug and play and have versatility. So I went with Dieter. He's not quite as highly ranked and polished as Lindstrom. That's definitely the top-ranked guy, but it just seemed like he had some specific measurables that would fit well with us.
Those are good reasons.
The Redskins need versatility, considering they've had about 85 different guys play offensive line in the past 2 years.
Yeah,
so,
that they have.
Yeah, I get it. For me, I went Deebo Samuel, the wide receiver out of South Carolina. The wide receiver group, as I wrote, is in crisis. To me,
yes,
they have, either guys who are very injured and are very young, or guys like Doxson who are probably a bust. They desperately need big talent. I was concerned originally before I'd really paid attention to Deebo Samuel whether he was really more of a Z, but no, I mean he's a slot guy. So I think. They need somebody who can play, and that's Samuel. Real fast, Eric drafted Lindstrom like Alex did. We talked about that.
People just copy me all the time.
Yeah, I think he cheated. Jay Evans drafted Dalton Reisner, so he's along the same lines. We need a guard, but he picked Reisner, so that's. And Jamal drafted Hakeem Butler, the wide receiver from Iowa State.
Gotcha.
Awesome. So 2 wide receivers were picked by Hog Sty people. Everybody else picked
guards.
Line.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, guards. Yep. Awesome. Very cool.
All right, makes sense. Round 3, pick 1.
Yeah, there are 2 picks for the Redskins in round 3. And by the way, we just assumed this is assuming there are no trades.
Yeah,
we
of course.
Didn't project that out because that's too hard. So
yeah, that you can get silly if you go to one of the sites and start trading, and you end up with like 8 picks in 3 rounds. It's nuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so I went with, based off my board, no one else I really liked at this point that was high up enough, and I went with Jalen Ferguson. I basically picking 2 edges in the first 3 rounds, even though we don't need it. But I love him. He's a good speed rusher. He would contribute.
Anybody who has listened to this show
knows that that's one of my favorite picks.
Alex was going to pick Jalen Ferguson come hell or high water.
Well, not necessarily. It was more of I didn't really see anybody else worth taking at that moment.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't go with the 2 edge rushers, but I know why you like him.
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah, I'm not excited about reading my pick for this, Steve, because this was not a confident pick for me. Mostly picked a position. Voshon Joseph is who I picked. He's a linebacker out of Florida. He's a Gator.
Okay.
He's got definitely some big problems with his game. Mostly, actually not so much with his game, so much as him as a person. He's a small dude, and he's a little unpolished, a little sloppy in his game. There's a lot of raw talent and athleticism there if someone can help him get it together. So we need linebackers with speed. He kind of fits that mold. He's a little small. He'd have to keep some weight on. But, that's where I went with it. Again, as you can tell from my voice, I'm not super excited about the idea of this guy.
You're like openly questioning yourself as you're discussing your pick.
Well, like Alex said, it got to the point here in the 3rd round already where it was kind of like, there's no one that's really blowing me away with their skills here. But that's a high potential.
Well, I'll tell you what. I love my 3rd round pick.
There you go.
First round pick. I love this pick. Darnell Savage, this free safety out of Maryland. The safety out of Maryland.
If he had been there, I would have gone with him. But in my draft, he wasn't.
This dude is a playmaker. He's a rangy free safety type. We talked about safeties a few weeks ago. I think he would be a perfect complement to Landon Collins. Mm-hmm. So I love this. I hope they grab him. There's others, also out there who would be good. But Savage was right there when I did my mock draft.
I think that's a home run pick.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. I like him. I can't see taking a safety in the first 3 rounds, especially in the first 3 picks. He's great, but I just can't convince myself to do that. I didn't even consider taking someone
that's fair enough.
Backfield.
I mean, that's your opinion. That's good. Okay, Eric Hill drafted Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver from Ohio State. The benefit to this guy, all the Ohio State guys, if you guys don't realize this, are all burners.
Yeah, they're all deep guys.
Yeah, Paris Campbell's a burner. McLaurin's a burner. So we get that, obviously. Jay drafted Deontay Thompson, the safety at Alabama. Now, I don't think Thompson's going to be there in round 3, personally. I think that's...
I don't know what board he was using.
Yeah, I don't know, but but you have to think if he's there in round 3, he's an Alabama guy. Bruce Allen would love that. Yeah. Jamal went Christian Miller, the outside linebacker from Alabama. And this is the guy, Alex, I mentioned this to you off air. This is the guy who Joe Marino mentioned as a quality edge rusher in round 2.
Gotcha.
This is round 3, but it was Christian Miller, also an Alabama guy. So you could definitely see that happening, because of the Alabama thing. So those are the other 2 guys. So now we have round 3 pick 32.
Yes, and awesome. This is the tough one.
I'll put something in there today. I got you.
This is something on the show. I was really tempted to go for a quarterback, but it kind of was a reach with the guys who were available. But I do think if the Redskins don't have a quarterback by now, they'll probably reach at that pick in real life. But I went with Miles Boykin, the Notre Dame wide receiver. He's not a burner, which is what I really want, but I think he could kind of step in and eventually replace Josh Doxson. He's kind of the same frame. He's a good, reliable receiving target. He's not as acrobatic, but
Hey, the acrobatic thing hadn't worked out to Doxson's favor.
It hasn't worked out for any receiver we've drafted who's like, he's an acrobat. Remember Brandon Lloyd? Remember how that looked?
Yeah, that didn't go well.
Yeah.
Okay, I drafted Jarrett Stidham, the quarterback from Auburn. There's a kind of the second group down. The top 3 guys are kind of set. Rank order Haskins and Murray however you want. I have Haskins number 1. Right. And by the way, tangent on Haskins, I watched a lot of film on him. I have not watched any of his interviews. This dude is smart. When it comes to football, he is really smart. He did a thing on ESPN's Get Up show.
Yeah.
On it where Dan Orlovsky was walking, who's the former Detroit Lions quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who walked out the back of the end zone by accident, a few years ago. But Orlovsky, who clearly knows, walked him through the X's and O's of a few plays.
Yeah.
Man, Haskins really knows what he's talking about. What I noticed on film in my own non-expert eyes about Haskins, he really progresses through through the field like none of the other quarterbacks.
No,
he's got a cannon for an arm.
The comp that people make, and I don't necessarily love it all the time, but people say he's like the next Warren Moon if he's going to comp with anybody.
I mean, Warren Moon was more athletic. Haskins isn't athletic. But my point with all this is, before I got on my Haskins tangent, is I think below those three guys, you've got guys like Daniel Jones, Will Grier, Jarrett Stidham, and Ryan Finley. Basically, those are the next four guys down. If you want to be a homer, throw a Brett Rippon in there. I wouldn't, but some people do. I think Stidham is the best out of this next group, and so I drafted Stidham to be the Redskins' developmental quarterback of the future. With apologies to the AAF guy they signed,
Josh Woodrum. Yeah,
him.
Yeah.
So
no, Stidham's good. I lean Finley on that group more, but I think either of them are solid.
Some do.
Yeah.
Sean, do you have a name in mind, or you want to?
Yeah, I don't have a specific name in mind. I do like some of the philosophy you guys have applied here to this pick. So I kind of agree with Alex that this is like maybe where a quarterback will go in real life for the team. Do we really think that like a Finley is going to drop that far?
I think he could.
Yeah, I think he absolutely could.
Reading some.
It depends on that first wave of quarterback drafting, because the Redskins are like one of the last teams that needs a starter that's in the early part of the draft, but you do have that wave of Pittsburgh and New England and who am I forgetting? San Diego, where they've got older quarterbacks and they need to find replacements down the road.
I mean, I'm just warning everybody now: be prepared for the Daniel Jones era. The Redskins like him. I've heard, from people I trust that he had a really, really good pro day workout. Personally, I'm not wild about pro day workouts for quarterbacks because it's very scripted. Mm-hmm. There's no competition. I think, to me, if you looked at Jones, you saw a guy who's very mediocre in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, but he's smart. He has a great college coach. He's the perfect type of overdraft situation. And if the Redskins like him, could you see him overdrafting him? Yes. I hope they don't.
Absolutely could see the Redskins making that
if you grab
terrible
him in like
mistake.
If you grab him like round 3, I'd be
that's fine.
With
round 3, I don't care if they grab him in the round 3.
So I'm just warning everybody now.
Yeah. I don't want him to get him in round 1.
We've also heard that Jay isn't totally wild as wild about Haskins as some others. At least I've heard that. So we'll see.
He said that in the meetings in Arizona.
Yeah, or at least he kind of hinted around about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Eric Hill drafted Jay Sternberger, tight end out of Texas A&M. Let me tell you guys about Sternberger. I think he was the clear-cut number 4 tight end to me on my tight end board. Behind Hawkinson, Noah Fant, Irv Smith, and it's Jay Sternberger. Sternberger is quality. All around, he's an outstanding pass catcher, a playmaker for A&M. I think
is he more of a bigger tight end? I don't know anything about
him. No, he's bigger, but he's a pretty good blocker.
Okay.
He's kind of like a Heath Miller type.
Okay. That's what I was kind of wondering.
He's
what's
a starter,
the comp?
and you draft Sternberger in round 3. I think you've got your replacement for Vernon Davis and or Jordan Reed. I think that's a very good pick by Eric. Jay Evans went with Cahill Waring. I'm just going to grab both tight ends together, Sean. Cahill Waring is out of San Diego State. This dude is very, very raw. He hasn't played football very long. He played a whole bunch of other sports. He's an outstanding athlete. He was like a water polo basketball guy in high school.
So he's a long, lean guy then, probably.
Yeah, he's a hyper elite athlete type.
Gotcha.
He just hasn't played a lot of football. So those are the 2 tight ends. And just to knock this out, Jamal drafted Ryan Finley, the quarterback out of North Carolina.
Yeah. That's what I was actually referring to when I asked if he was going to drop that far, because I'd probably take him here too, or I'd go with your endorsement of Stidham, Steve.
Pick one. Pick the best one.
It depends on what you like. When I look at Finley, I see another Kirk Cousins in that he just loves to dart the ball around, dink and dunk all over the place.
Well, that's the problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if Finley. I think Stidham, who admittedly played in Auburn's very simplistic offense, I think Stidham has a better chance to be better deep. I think with Finley, you've got a West Coast guy who can certainly, dink and dunk his way down the field, but I think Stidham will have a better chance of being an all-around quarterback in terms of his hit patterns.
You're probably right. I just think the bust factor for an all-around guy is always a little higher than a.
Sorry, absolutely, certainly.
And so that's the decision that the coaching staff would have to make in that scenario.
Right.
Do you want the guy with the higher ceiling who can throw it deeper, or the guy who's going to be a safer game manager?
And I think we all know what way Jay leans.
We know what way Jay leans, but this is more going to be a Doug question.
As we prove, as the Redskins have proven this offseason,
right.
They don't communicate very well in the front office.
Right.
They're newsflash.
What Jay wants doesn't matter.
Right. It's really ultimately what Bruce Allen wants.
Right.
So we didn't go below that in our mock draft because we thought it was getting silly at that point. So
yeah, absolutely. I will say one more thing before we move on. I like Eric's, not to jump us back to tight ends, but I like what Eric said in his little explanation of his picks, because it's funny to think about tight ends. We have two quality ones, but for various circumstances, it's just not a great fit. Jordan Reed has injury problems, and Vernon Davis is expensive. So we have talent at tight end, but it's just like for various reasons, it's just not the answer. I kind of liked how you put that. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's move on from draft stuff then, because we've got about 10 minutes left, and maybe we should talk about the glorious schedule release.
Huzzah!
It's that time.
Yeah.
It's that time of the year. So who's got it up in front of them?
I got it up in front of us. We have the schedule listed on our site under the roster cap schedule tab. Go there, and it's got all the networks, all the starting times, everything you'd ever want about the schedule. They're straight from the press release. So, schedule, first quarter of the season, at Eagles, home against the Cowboys, home against the Bears, and then at the Giants.
Mm-hmm. So not going to be a repeat of last year where it took us 10 weeks to even see a divisional opponent.
That is correct. So thoughts on quarter number one?
Rough quarter.
Intense.
That's a, hey, let's go 1-3 type situation off the bat.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky, yeah.
Right. That could be an 0-4 type situation.
It could. The Giants don't scare me at all, but I know they always play us hard.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The first 8 games are kind of like an average thing. It's front-loaded with the tough opponents. This is a brutal way to start, but at least we're getting it out of the way early, and we'll be healthy at least at that point of the season. We can mostly guarantee that we'll have a healthy roster in the first 4 games.
We'll see.
Mostly. That's a brutal slate, but hey, at least you can say it's at the very beginning, and we'll be fresh.
And our Chicago game's Monday night, so let's just chalk that up into a bad loss.
A loss. Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. Yeah, the Bears it's Monday night at FedEx Field. You just know that's not going to go well.
No.
Because it never does. I think I looked this up one time, and the Redskins have maybe the worst record in the league over whatever period of time I went back to on Monday Night Football. They're just horrible on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, they are.
Second quarter number 2, the Patriots. Chalk that one to things sure to go wrong. Patriots at home, at least. At the Dolphins. 49ers at home. And then Thursday night football against the Vikings, against the Kirk Cousins Vikings in Minnesota.
So that's
rip them apart.
That final game's the big one, right? I mean, the Patriots are just going to crush us. You could probably win the next 2, right?
You know what? I'll say this about the Patriots, though. They've started slowly in the past couple of years.
But usually only the first 4 weeks. Week 5 is when they put everything together and kick the crap out of somebody.
Me trying to be optimistic.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think if you were to look at Patriots Week 5 the last 10 years, that's always when they have their 50-point game.
I've been bashing on our fans for 45 minutes now, so I thought I'd say something positive.
Okay, fair enough.
No, it's fair though. I think your point's well made, Steve. I would rather face them early in the season than towards the run for the postseason when they really are busting out all the tricks.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to win, right? The Redskins aren't going to win this game.
No.
Unless something really crazy happens through the first couple of weeks and we're like, oh, my God, this team's amazing. Yeah, I really have a hard time seeing that.
I mean, I think the 49er and Dolphins game are winnable, though.
Absolutely winnable.
Those are both winnable.
If those aren't winnable, at least, what is on the roster?
And believe it or not, I would say the Minnesota Vikings game could be winnable because we all know it's Kirk Cousins.
Except that it's Thursday night.
That's true.
The Redskins, you counteract Kirk Cousins' big game badness with the Redskins' ability to be awful,
but
in primetime.
But he also is bad in primetime. Because
I know it's like the collision of two collective awful things.
Is this going to be a 9-6 game?
Yeah, exactly. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I hope we beat him. I hope we win that game. dear God, please, at a minimum, beat the Vikings.
I mean, I don't have the big axe against him that some people do, but I would still love to do it.
I don't hate Kirk Cousins. I just don't want to hear it.
Right.
I do not want to have to hear it.
Right.
That's what I don't want.
With you.
Okay. So the next quarter.
Week 9.
Sean, were we done with this? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to move.
Yeah,
on.
no,
Okay,
I think we're good on
next
that.
quarter, week 9, Buffalo. In Buffalo, then we have the bye week.
Yes. Can we just say something about that real
Go
quick?
ahead.
Thank
Yeah,
God
sure.
we have a later season bye week this year.
Yeah, last year
that's
with
week
like the week 4, they need to get rid of the week 4 bye weeks. Those are the
Week
worst.
3. It was week 3.
Was it week 3?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's just ridiculous.
There should never be a bye week like before your 5th game. I feel like in the NFL.
Guys,
I know why they do it, but it's stupid.
It's about TV, and it's about ensuring a 17-week schedule, and nobody cares if the teams don't like it. Okay, so that's week 10, and then we've got the Jets in Washington, the
Winnable.
Lions in Detroit, and then the Carolina Panthers.
I thought the Lions were here.
What did I say?
You said in Detroit.
Yeah, no, it's a home game. So it's at Buffalo, bye week, Jets at home, Lions at home, and then Carolina Panthers in Carolina. That's the next quarter. Thoughts?
I probably the best part
Winnable.
of our schedule for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely winnable.
I mean, the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, you got to be able to win a game like that.
Well,
Absolutely.
it's going to be early November, so there will only be a foot of snow on the ground by then.
Yeah, and I still maintain that Josh Allen is a lousy quarterback.
I do too.
He runs, but he sucks. The Jets,
Kind of a wild card.
yeah, wild
Yeah.
card. Maybe the Jet. The cynic would say, Sam Darnold's going to have it together a little bit more by then. Maybe the Jets will be better. That's probably what the Jets fans are thinking.
Yeah.
The Lions. I mean, look, we were the team that broke the Lions' losing streak. 0-7. What were they? 0-20 or
Something like
whatever
that,
it
yeah.
was. Yeah, it was awful.
God,
And
I
then the
remember that.
Panthers, we're not going into Carolina and beating.
Well, but the thing is, none of these are elite teams. These are all teams that hover like in that 500-ish
the Panthers
range.
could be, depending on how it goes.
Yeah,
Didn't we beat Carolina last year?
we did.
The year before. Yeah, we beat them last year.
time we
held
played
off
them,
Cam
yeah.
Newton's late
Yeah, but they were
surge.
really injured, though, Sean. I mean, it was not it was a bad year for them.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But still, I think you got to look at that as some hope. At least.
have to-
I think that's a very hopeful
I
part.
mean, by
Redskins
this
need
point
to
in the
be-
season, you never know who's going to be beaten up.
Yeah.
it's true.
The Redskins need to be looking at 3-1 in this quarter to have any chance of a good season.
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
That's probably true.
Fourth quarter of the season, it gets a bit ugly. So hold on to your hats. At Green Bay, Eagles at home, Giants at home, and then at Dallas.
Right.
All Sunday 1:00 games. Now, Packers in December. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, that might not go well.
No.
Eagles and Giants and Cowboys, total wild cards. It generally doesn't go well when we play division games.
And especially into the season when we're probably out of playoff contention. And, yeah.
We could be out of it. So that could be if the season is going well, these games will have meaning and be important. If it goes like a regular Redskins season, they'll be out of it and they'll go 0-4.
Right.
Yeah. It's got a high intensity start and finish to this
Right.
season.
I
This
love
is gonna
that,
be brutal.
by the way. They should always try and make it so you're playing. I know they always want you to play the division the last 3 weeks now. They always should put the other 3 division games early on. I like that.
Well, I mean, it's a big algorithm. Sometimes it.
I know. Sometimes it
work out,
works, sometimes it doesn't, but I like it better this way.
I think the
Yeah,
other thing
I
we
do
need
too.
to point out generally. Here's my general thought about this schedule. The Redskins only have 2 primetime games. Mm-hmm. 3 primetime games. No, 2.
2.
Sorry, 2 primetime games all year. They've got the Monday night game
And Thursday.
against the Bears, and then the Thursday game against the Vikings. That just shows how far the mighty have fallen. Nobody wants the Redskins in primetime. And the other thing is, thank God we're not playing on Thanksgiving again.
Oh, why? You don't like that? You don't
No,
like
I'm
Thanksgiving?
thinking selfishly, Sean. I don't want to have to do a show on Thanksgiving Day again for the 3rd year in a row.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's kinda,
I hate
it's kind of
things.
sad, though.
And you know what? I like that we're week 16. We're not playing on Christmas because I know there was rumor that they were going to put a bunch of games on Christmas this year.
I wouldn't have liked that.
Yeah.
And
I
again,
kind of enjoyed
it's
our
all-
Thanksgiving shows, guys. We've done it like every year we've done the show, practically.
I know. I want a break on the holidays for once. Is that so wrong?
Yeah,
mean,
I
you
like
know?
to eat turkey with my family and pass out by like 8 o'clock. I don't want to. I don't want to
Instead,
be.
we're constantly having to do shows on the holidays. This is awful.
Yeah. And
It's true.
you know what? I love that it's a bunch of 1:00 games. Frankly, I hate primetime games. Not just because we lose. I just don't like having to do Hog Sty late night. So
yeah, we had a bunch. We had 6 or 7 of them last year.
I hate doing those late night shows. So
only two of them this year, boys. So that's
There
good.
we go. There we go.
We're only going to be up at midnight twice.
Yeah.
Doing this.
So give me a 1 to 10 ranking on the difficulty of this schedule. 10's impossible. 1 is a cakewalk. How hard is this schedule?
It's a little early to really give a hard ranking, but I'd say it's probably a 6. 7.
Yeah, I mean, if you go by rankings and whatnot from last year, the Redskins have a very easy schedule. I don't think it is a very easy schedule. Like 1067 put something out that said the Redskins have the easiest schedule in the league, which I think is just stupid.
That's not correct because I've also seen the Patriots had the easiest schedule in the league.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying if 1067 wrote that. To me, I mean, for the reasons we talked about, because it's so hard in the beginning. If it goes south immediately, the season's going to be over in September. And so that sucks. And so for that reason, I would give it a little bit higher difficulty because they've got to come out of the gate doing well. And the Redskins historically under Jay Gruden played terrible in the beginning of the season. So I'm going to say like a 7 for that reason.
Yeah, usually we tank the first 2 games trying to figure out the offense. And
so this year, by the time we hit the soft spot in the schedule, the season might be over.
Right.
The competitive portion of the season, at least where they're competing for playoffs and division titles, could be over by the time we hit the middle, the softer middle.
One of those topics that I've heard, I remember they were talking about on The Fan this week when I was listening because I had very little going on at work today, or for a few days. I was actually able to listen to radio all day. But they were talking about if it goes as badly as it could, you could be seeing coaching changes mid-season in this team.
What I would have rather have, I think I would have ranked the schedule a lot lower for me if we had seen the third quarter be the first quarter. If we had gone and said, okay, we got Buffalo, the Jets, and Detroit in the first 4 weeks of the season, then I'd say, okay, a little easier schedule. They can start fast, and if you start fast, at least you're competitive.
Right.
Even if you die at the end, you're still competitive. It's a more entertaining season for the fans. But if we go out and play the Eagles, Cowboys, Bears, and Giants and go 0-4, you talk about, Rick Snyder's attendance thing he always talks about.
Yep.
It's going to be like we need to pay people to go to the stadium if that happens.
Well, we might be doing it anyway.
Maybe. Yeah, that might be true. Because you notice, by the way, I'm sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Did everybody notice that the Redskins did not schedule the big Saturday draft party at the stadium this year? We, the Hog Sty, have covered that the past 3 years. I think 3 years.
2 years.
Okay, 2.
Yeah.
They have historically, the Redskins have done the Saturday draft party where they invite everybody to the field at FedEx and have a big thing.
Meet the first round play and second round pick. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll have some local celebrity come out. My working theory, the Steve Thomas theory here, is that they know nobody would show up, and they do not want NFL Network to film that and have nobody there. And so they did this in a little tiny club called the Anthem.
It's a 6,000 seat venue, Steve. It's not tiny.
It's not 70,000.
No, but when you go to the draft party, it's not 70. It's people on the field. No one's.
Yeah, but I think they can guarantee they can get 6,000 people in there and it look full.
Yes.
Rather than have 6,000 people at the stadium and it look completely empty. I think that's what's going on here.
I mean, when I've been at the draft parties, I wouldn't say it's much more than 6,000 generally anyway. But that's just they never put out a head count.
No, they don't. I just think this year they're afraid because they can always dim the house lights in the back if nobody shows up to the Anthem too. Because so anyway, that's my theory. It's off topic, but I think that's why they moved it this year is because smaller venues.
It's also they're doing it for the first round pick, which makes more sense anyway.
Yeah, it does. It does, and they've got Biz Markie.
Yeah,
Biz Markie, really?
They got some musical things lined up. Yeah. I would be going, but it's my wife's birthday, so...
Yeah, we're going to try and cover that. We're still working on that. We may be there in official capacity.
Yeah,
he's going to apparently... The press release made note of the fact that he's going to play Just a Friend. So, if you want to see Biz Markie...
They want to guarantee that.
Right.
Yeah, they did. It was in the press release. It specifically said Biz Markie will be playing Just a Friend.
Biz Markie will play his most famous song because, duh.
Is that his only song? I mean...
Yeah. What kind of message does that send to our new draft picks?
A guy who can't sing at all, singing Just a Friend. It became a hit because it was almost a joke.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think Biz Markie thinks it's a joke. I just think the public thinks it's a joke.
Oh yeah, it's a
Does
beloved
he have
joke.
another song at all? I mean,
I don't know.
I'm sure he does. If anyone's heard them, that's another question.
True.
But
Yeah,
I'm sure
true.
he does.
I'm sure he did not just put out one song whenever he made a CD.
probably, yeah. It just nobody's ever heard any of the rest of them. So the point is, if you want to hear Biz Markie play Just a Friend, go get tickets to that thing.
I think
you
it's
may, in fact, meet Jamal.
Yeah.
if we can work it out.
Yeah.
There you go. You should be so lucky. All right. Well, anything else y'all want to throw out there before we people get back to their weekends? Any other closing thoughts on any of this stuff? Draft, the contract stuff we talked about.
I have a little. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of high level. I feel I feel a lot more apathetic this year than I normally do. And
I sense that in you, Steve.
Yeah,
I sense that.
We said before on this show, like doing this grind that we do every day, every week, all of it, it tends to kind of level out your fandom if you do what we do for the longest time. But even taking that into account, we've had such awful for so long now that this year I'm finding, I love doing it and everything, but I really find myself a bit more apathetic about the team than I do. Than I otherwise would. I can't get too excited over it. And I don't like that about myself, but I'm just being honest here. I don't feel negative. I'm not one of these people that, oh my God, it's just awful. You know, and no matter, like Bruce Allen needs to be strung up by his toenails, all that. That's not me. For me, it's more of a meh, shoulder shrug at a lot more things than in years past. And I don't like that. I want to see the team win. And we kind of get past that feeling.
I feel like Steve's got Simon and Garfunkel's "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend" just like going in the back of his mind now all the time when he's doing Redskins stuff.
See, I'm a rocker, and I don't know that song very well, so that wouldn't be playing. I would probably have like a Black Sabbath song playing in the back of my head, when they're talking about the Redskins.
Fair enough.
All right.
Well, I suppose we'll leave it on that cheery note.
Cheery note? You want a cheery note? Okay, cheery note.
Give us a cheery note.
Okay. There's a good chance Redskins may have a good young quarterback in here.
There is.
There's a really good chance that what we may see going forward is this. Good young quarterback, they're going to draft a receiver. It'd just be draft abuse if they didn't draft a receiver. So what we may have is the core nucleus of an offense going forward. Running back, Darius Slay, hopefully outstanding running back, young quarterback, productive, game-breaking receiver, offensive line that is still one of the top offensive lines in the league. So what we may have after this draft, if you want something positive, is the core group of a quality young offense moving forward, even if Jay Gruden isn't the coach. So there's your positive.
There you go.
That's-
I like
not
that.
a downer.
That
I like that. So, do we have? I know the draft starts on Thursday. Okay, so it ends on Saturday. So we more or less the draft will be over by our next episode, so we can cover the entirety of the thing.
Well,
Awesome.
we will probably delay recording by a day to make sure we cover everything.
The fans won't know, but yeah.
These final stragglers that'll come in on Saturday.
Yes.
And listen, we're not going to live, broadcast the draft or anything, but we will stay tuned for the Hog Sty. All the written stuff we'll have as soon as we can muster it collectively as a site. We will have information about every draft pickup as soon as we can.
Yep.
So stick with us.
There you go. Well, there you have it, folks. That's Sean, Steve, and Alex bid you adieu through the week. Let's keep our fingers crossed through this draft, and like he said, keep checking back with us on thehogsty.com. We'll see y'all next time.